The following production is part of the We Be Geeks podcast collective.
From days long ago, from uncharted regions of the universe, comes a legend.
The dream that came through a million years, that lived on through all the tears.
It came here, the Fandom Nexus.
Fabulous secret powers were revealed to our host as he plugged in his microphone.
I have a podcast!
Here he is, your Spider-Pan, Jeremy.
Yes, that's right. We're back, and I bet Philip can't hear a thing that I'm doing from any of these noises, can you?
I can hear it.
Oh, you do get to hear everything. Awesome. I was worried you weren't going to hear, and you're not going to know what's happening, and you were going to have nothing but silence, and you're going to be sitting there going, what happened? He hung up. So, yeah, Philip sounds a little different. I'm having to kind of go through the phone lines and stuff, and it's just been kind of that kind of week. But we got a lot of fun stuff to talk about, and I've got a special guest coming up later here on the show. Gary K. Wolf, writer and creator of Roger Rabbit, and important for this episode, Jessica Rabbit. We'll find out why later. He's got a new book, though, that he's going to come and talk about, so that'll be a lot of fun later. Other than that, we've got a lot of new trailers. We've got Star Wars Celebration kicking off this week, and of course, we got to talk about that Rescue Rangers. I'll call it a movie. I was tempted to say travesty, but I'm going to be that guy with the contrary opinion because I see a lot of people have been enjoying it, and well, I guess I get to be the on the minority side of that. So, yeah, I didn't quite enjoy it as much as I guess some other people are. But that's what we got coming up today. We've got a lot of fun things to do, and my Skype thing is flashing things at me. Oh, okay, that's because I clicked the screen. So, yes, technology is doing strange things, and Stranger Things is actually coming up in two parts. So there's see how I tie that together? Aren't I clever?
There you go.
Because I think they just announced that this week, and I think I've actually got that clip coming up today. I don't have my clips labeled, but we do Stranger Things 4. It's coming up very soon, and I think actually, I think part 1 actually is going to be released perhaps this week. I know we got Obi-Wan coming on the 27th, and we've also got this week. I think Top Gun Maverick has already been released because I've seen people posting on Facebook that they went on Wednesday to go see it.
Yes, and I can't wait. We got to go see that.
I don't know when we're going to get a chance to go, so I'm hoping this weekend to be out of town. I haven't quite narrowed it down. Well, but between my anniversary being the 24th, my birthday being the 26th, the Memorial Day weekend is usually when we try to go and do something, and I haven't gotten to go and do anything out of town in I don't even know how many years. Although it's probably going to be a day trip because I don't think we can afford to do a hotel. You can barely afford to do anything these days.
No doubt.
So it's going to be tough enough to afford the gas to drive down somewhere. We're not going to leave the state. But yeah, to try to squeeze into a hotel at the same time, or, my original thought of being like, it'd be fun to go down to Branson, go to Silver Dollar City, but I don't think we can even afford to do that right now. So yeah, I won't get into why I can't afford to do anything because it has nothing to do with me not having a good job, because I do have a good job. It's just I got a good job, and then all of a sudden everything got more expensive. Yeah, and we'll leave it at that. Yeah. So yeah, we're all just cheering for Brandon out here.
Happy thoughts.
Happy thoughts. Anyways, as I take a sip, I guess this isn't it. I had some Starlight Coke again. I found like the little miniature cans. I've been drinking some more of that Starlight Coke. It's different. It tastes like it has ginger in it, but I don't know if it really does. But I just realized I sipped on a cherry Coke and not a Starlight Coke.
There you go. So you just give a false promotion.
Yeah. Well, I like cherry Coke a lot better than the Starlight Coke. The Starlight Coke, it's not bad. If you sip it, it tastes like a Coke. And if you take a big chug of it, that's when you start to taste like ginger. But I've had people saying they taste different things in it. So I don't know what they've put in it, but it's not bad, but it's not really mind blowing. Yeah. Yeah, at least it's better tasting, I'm sure, than what the Flaming Hot Cheetos Mountain Dew has tasted. You have gotten a chance to try that by now, I guess, right?
No.
Oh, you didn't?
Wait. Yes, I did.
Yeah,
yes,
I thought you told me you did. And
yes, I did. Pardon me. And that was different. I don't know what else to say about that. It was It didn't taste like Cheetos, I'll say you that. It just was hot, and it was odd. It was just odd.
Yeah. And so far,
I'm not going to give it a promotion.
Yeah. So far, I have only seen there's a YouTube channel I enjoy because they're funny. Is called It's a Southern Thing, and they had all their people try it out, and then we had one person who enjoyed it, but she just loves overly spicy type of things, and she's like, I could drink hot sauce, so I mean, this is good. But everybody else was like, oh, no way, no. So.
Well, it was weird. It was like it wasn't hot per se, but it was real spicy. Yeah, I did try it. It was just spicy for a minute, but it was like, yeah, if I want heartburn, because it was like when you have heartburn, when you eat something and hours later. Yeah. When hours later something comes back up in heartburn. Ugh. Anyone who has heartburn, you've had it. You just don't know that you've had it.
Yeah, and I had enough of that. I've had enough of that. No, I know I don't need it. I don't want to get heartburn on purpose.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. It just tastes like heartburn.
If it tastes like acid reflux, I really don't want it.
Well, that's pretty much what it was for me. Ugh. It was like it tasted. And I was like, it's like that's just kind of gross. It was like acid reflux Mountain Dew. I
didn't even taste it, and I had to drink some cherry Coke just to get the thought of the taste out of my mouth.
Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny what our minds will do for us?
Yuck. Oh, and by the way, yuck. And that's why one reason that I'm never going to try this stuff. I don't know who thought it was a brilliant idea to put it out, but I guess they're selling some.
Luckily, I didn't get a whole lot. I got 2 bottles, one for my nephew, one for me, because I didn't. I just assumed it wasn't going to be that grand.
Yeah, and you figure if you must suffer, then Freddie must suffer with you.
He wanted it bad, and he never finished the bottle. That's all I could say. He went on a whole trip, and from what I understand, it never got finished and eventually got thrown away.
Yeah, that's not the drink I'd want to have on a road trip because, you want something refreshing you can drink while you're on the way. And if the only thing you got and you're on the road for a while and the only thing you got is something disgusting, you're going to be like, I got really nothing I want to drink this whole trip. That'd be awful. Awful.
I was kind enough to buy pineapple Mountain Dew as well.
Ooh, that sounds good.
And, it is really good. That's not what it's called necessarily.
You know what it's called?
Pardon me. I want to say Baja or something. No, it's not Baja. It's I can't recall, but you'll know when you see it because it's yellow as can be, and it has it usually right next to where that other one is at. I'm going to tell you that one. I think they should keep it out partially because I'm selfish that way, but I wish they bring out a diet one because
yes, please.
It's not diet, and I want a diet one because that is an outstanding flavor.
Yeah, because I like pineapple and stuff. That sounds pretty tasty.
I'm going to tell you.
I was happy when
another one.
That melon one, the watermelon flavored, when they brought that out as in cans as a cereal, I was so happy to buy me some of that. I love that watermelon. Yeah. Oh, man.
But I'll tell you, that pineapple, that to me, that might be my, not as good as the original, but that might be my favorite one. The other flavors are special flavors.
And now I'm craving a Dole Whip.
Well, yeah. It basically tastes like a fizzly Dole Whip in a sense.
Oh, man. Ooh, that sounds awesome.
It's really good.
Oh, man. So now I got to have one of those as soon as I make a diet. Oh, goodness.
There you go.
So, yeah, we're going to call this section, What Have You Been Drinking? Which sounds really funny when you put it that way.
Well, and right now I'm drinking a Circle, a coffee-flavored one, actually, because I had ordered peppermint, whatever we call it, mocha, peppermint mocha at Christmas time and all that. It was so good. Well, apparently I kept that on my order thing, and they no longer have that, so they just sent me a whole bunch of mocha flavors instead of the peppermint mocha. Well, I wasn't really going to order that, but I guess now I have a whole bunch of just mocha that I have to drink. I don't waste.
Yeah.
So I will drink it. And I don't hate it. It's not bad.
It's basically chocolate.
Yeah, but pretty much. It's not bad.
Yeah.
It's just not what I was expecting. But I was in the mood for peppermint,
Yes.
And when I went to put it in there, and I was like, oh, okay. So I got I don't know, 3 months worth of that.
Wow.
No, it's more like 2 months worth of that. But still, I was like, oh, my gosh.
Oh, my goodness. I actually got lucky. I was looking for some coffee creamer because I like the liquid coffee creamer now. I think it does more. I actually found some peppermint mocha still out in stores in spring. So then maybe they realize that people will always want that kind of stuff. Because
I love
I will
peppermint.
always want
When it
some.
comes to the circle, I made a real big mistake. Not this last fall, but the fall before. You know, I love pumpkin.
Oh, yes.
So when they brought out the pumpkin, I thought that was going to be outstanding. You know, it depends on who makes it or what it comes from. But let me just tell you, the peppermint, the pumpkin, it might have been pumpkin mocha. I honestly don't recall, but it wasn't good. It was not good. It was a real, you know, some of that stuff has a real artificial flavor. And pumpkin, whatever it was, those people made from Circle. I'm sorry, Circle folk, but not good.
Okay, we should
Terrible
probably explain,
thing.
by the way, Circle, because that's your water bottle you have that you can put flavoring in it as you drink it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, it's really good stuff. It's spelled CIRKUL.
We should see if they can do a sponsorship for us now.
Oh well, it's really good stuff, and you know, it may sound expensive when you first start on it, but each little tube that you put on your bottle lasts. I don't remember how, depending on what you set it on, because it has 10 settings of flavor, and it can last up to, I think they said 16 or so cups, bottles worth. So it lasts quite a while, depending. You know, it lasts me usually at 3 or 4 days, 2 or 3 days at least, if you have it set up high. I usually set it low, up for a cup on 2 or whatever, then 3 and 4 or 5, until eventually this flavor is going away, and then I'll put in another one.
Yeah.
And so it's not like those little packages with the dust in it, flavor dust.
Yeah. There's an Aquabat song that says, thinks of his daughter as he drinks the chocolate water, and you're drinking chocolate water now with the mocha.
That's it. Yeah.
There we go.
Chocolate water. Which reminds me of the first Willy Wonka movie.
There you go. Yes.
Because it looks like chocolate water when he falls in.
Augustus, get away from there.
Yeah. My chocolate.
Well, you know what? I realized in my notes that I didn't post into the host chatter that what have you been watching? So I'm trying to think, what have I been watching? Have I been watching anything, any television show or anything particularly interesting this week? And honestly, other than I found, I think I already mentioned, I found You Can't Do That on Television is on Paramount Plus.
Oh, yeah, you did, yeah.
Which they recently, now they've got Sonic 2 on there, so I might have to watch that movie again.
Yeah.
But there's some other TV shows. I think I found HBO Max has actually got, remember John Ritter's last show, the Rules for Dating His Teenage Daughter? They have that on there on HBO Max now.
I saw that.
So
I may watch that because I only got to watch a bit of it.
Yeah, I kind of came into the show a bit late because I was usually working, at the time. But I enjoyed the show, and plus it's John Ritter. He was just great.
I love John Ritter.
Yeah,
he was outstanding, and so was the co-workers on it. And I'm wanting to. I've been watching a show called. I don't want to get the name of it wrong. It's about The Godfather before it was made, and I'm trying to think of what it was called. I don't know why all of a sudden my brain just took a nap here. And it's called Offer. To give you an offer.
Okay, yeah.
So it's called the Offer, and it's about The Godfather, how it's made. And so it starts with the writer, and what I didn't realize is just how much they had to go through to get this film made, because they had to deal with the actual mafia. Yeah. And they had to deal with the people in the film industry, which is a lot of creeps on their own. Yeah. So this guy had to deal with a lot of that. And plus, one of my favorite actors, he's this comedic actor who's been on a lot of shows like the Goldbergs and other things. He's this heavy-set dude. He's also on the Harry Potter movies now. He plays the heavy-set. I say heavy-set. I don't mean he's really heavy, but, he's kind of heavy-set. He plays the human who is in the newest films.
Mr. Kowalski.
Yes.
I forgot his first name.
He plays Francis Ford Coppola, and he does a really good job. And anyway, they're in this trying to show them how they're making the movies, and it's really interesting how they're doing it. Showing the producer's very interesting in it, and I mean, now granted, it does have language and some other things, how they do, but man, I tell you what, the actor they got playing Marlon Brando is phenomenal. I mean, I forgot it was a Marlon. He acts identical to the man. And wow. There's a scene where it shows how he got the role, where he's just sitting there talking like Marlon Brando, and then all of a sudden he starts becoming the Godfather role, sitting there at his house, and he puts this, paper towels or whatever it was, cotton or something, in his mouth, and he starts becoming the role, and then you're like, wow, and it's pretty unique.
Huh.
It's pretty awesome. And that's on Paramount.
That's on Paramount.
Paramount Plus, yeah, Paramount
Awesome.
Plus, yeah. But it's pretty unique, and I also been watching the new Star Trek show on there.
I'm kind of waiting until, because right now, like first episode, I've heard people say this was pretty good, but they're also saying, but this is also CBS. So we're waiting for the agenda to show up and ruin the season. So I'm gonna wait back and a few episodes in, when people tell me that, oh yeah, this has actually been really good, then I'll take a look at it. But I didn't watch Discovery because I heard Discovery fell after a while.
I didn't care much for it. I only got in one season in, and there was agendas all over the place. But in this case, the only, if you want to call it agenda, is that it shows that there is a life form in it. And by life form, I'm talking about alien life form that came out of the closet, so to speak. And by that, I'm not talking about sexual preferences. It's talking about it was a life form that was kind of in hiding.
Oh, okay.
And that was unique because it's
and we didn't have data there to scan for it. Life forms, you precious little life forms.
But it was unique because it's one that technically they don't necessarily talk about those much that early on in the universe, but it's still unique, and they did a good job. The guy playing Spock, he's not bad, but for me, Leonard Nimoy is always going to be Spock.
Right.
That's just me. I'm old school, and I don't care who knows it.
Fascinating.
But I do like the guy they got playing the Doctor. They got a good guy playing, and this is not McCoy. This is a different Doctor, but he's very cool too. He's got an interesting accent, which I'm not placing it, but I think it's supposed to be I don't know if it's supposed to be an alien accent or what, but it's at one minute it sounds almost Jamaican, and then it sounds almost French-like, and I don't know if it's supposed to be a combination of things, but he's very unique too. But I love that it's the old school stuff, and I haven't been able to catch which universe. I think it's the original though. The reason why I say that is because everything so far that they've done, there's throwbacks to the original show. There's even a moment, I'm not trying to ruin anything, by the way, but there's even a moment when the captain, who's Captain Pike, it shows where he has this horrible fear flash. And you remember the episode in season 1 where they were using scenes from the original
from the pilot episode, the cage,
yeah.
I believe it is.
Yeah, the cage. That's it. And they remember where the Pike was all messed up looking. He's in that little machine.
Yeah.
They show scenes of that, like not of that, real episode, but it showed the actor in the machine like that, in his little flash of fear. And I was like, this kind of has to be from the original, universe. Because I can't imagine it being of the new stuff. The uniforms are, of course, new looking, but yet they're old looking too. They've done a real good job of kind of making it look like it's of the old universe, and yet it has a new look to it.
Yeah, so we'll see. I was kind of wondering if they're going to get to a point where they're going to have everything that happens in the cage, actually happen to Pike.
Well, it might. I know that it was kind of like a nightmare he was kind of, at least what I saw, it looked like a nightmare. And, the other thing is you remember Nurse Chapel?
Yeah, I heard she made an appearance in the first episode.
Yeah, she's in it. She's on the show.
Goody.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool, too. I like that.
Now, what would be fun is, I don't know if Gene Roddenberry has a daughter, but wouldn't it be cool if she came on to play Chapel?
That would be interesting.
That would be very appropriate.
They have... I know he has a son. I don't know about a daughter, but he definitely has a son.
Well, heck, at this point, it'd be like a granddaughter, I guess, if you want to have somebody the right age for Chapel. But that would be, for anyone who doesn't get why that's appropriate, Google.
Yes. The original Nurse Chapel will end up being his wife later.
Right. So that's why I thought it would be kind of appropriate. It
wasn't at
be a nice
time,
tribute.
But, and for you who are not nerdy enough to know this, that original Nurse Chapel not only showed up later on as Deanna Troy's mama, she was also the voice of the computer.
Yeah, in The Next Generation.
And on the pilot we were talking about a while ago, she was the original number 1. Yeah, so that's very interesting.
Yeah, I've got to go rewatch it.
Yeah, she was involved the whole time. She was involved.
Yeah, and she got involved with Gene Roddenberry. So
That's right.
There you go.
That's right.
All right, so moving on to what we've been playing, I actually have a couple of things I want to list off because I don't remember talking last episode that I'd picked up the Stanley Parable. That now that it is on console, they call it the Ultra Deluxe, I think, edition or something like that. I don't know.
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't remember talking about it. I remember showing you the game and having you try it out. This is something I definitely have to recommend because there's so much goofy fun, and you never know what's going to happen unless you've gone through and do the exact same thing. But there's so many little things you can do that cause the story to alter. I had a lot of fun just kind of playing around with it. There's probably still a ton of stuff that I have not yet done on there, but I did move on to play something else because I used a little bit more of my fun money, and I noticed that they had a sale on the Nintendo Switch for a version of Clue with a complete season pass for $20. I got a complete season pass, which means I get multiple type of boards, all kinds of different characters, including some international characters that I recognize from like the old VCR Clue game. But there's even a Sherlock Holmes set that has Sherlock and Watson and Moriarty as 3 playable characters. That's fun. I actually, no matter what board I play on, I always have those 3 in there. So I've been having a lot of fun.
On your board game.
Yeah. Well, here's the weird thing is, okay, I have always suspected when you play a video game version of a board game, obviously the computer kind of has control of the dice in some fashion. I've always kind of thought that. Well, this game has proven to me that it knows what every card is and who has it. Here's how I learned this. So I set it up to have 3 people playing. So to me, I'm playing Sherlock Holmes. I have Watson. I set him on easy, and I put Moriarty on hard because I was gonna. In my head, the canon was if Moriarty solved this thing, that means he's basically, well, this person did it, and it was probably one of his agents that did the crime, did the murder, and he's gonna get away with it. So I had to make sure I beat Moriarty at putting him at a hard difficulty level. Now I noticed with this setting, Watson would go into a location. And he would go to a location he knew I had the card of, or something like that. There would at least be 2 things that he picked between his suspect and weapon and location that I had the card of. So then when Moriarty would pop up and say, I have, would say that he has something of the 3, well, I already had the other 2, so I knew exactly what Moriarty's card that he just showed Watson would be, if you understand what I'm saying. So I kept noticing that would happen. Like Watson on easy mode was like attempting to help me as if he knew exactly what cards I'd had in order to let me know and find out what cards Moriarty had by, Moriarty showing him things. And then the other weird thing that really kind of showed me that the computer knows exactly what cards everybody's holding. While I had Moriarty on a hard difficulty level, there were 2 times consecutively Moriarty went into a room and suggested 2 things that he had already shown me the cards for, so I know he's not learning anything new. That happened twice in a row, but the second time it happened, he out of nowhere solved the entire case based on what information you would have, because I don't know what the AI is capable to do, but there was like no information for him to be able to solve the case. And in fact, the last 2 turns, he wasted them by suggesting things that he had all 3 of those cards, and I know because he'd already shown me those cards. So it clearly gave, after a certain amount of turns, anything on hard difficulty level apparently is just going to just solve the case. So I will no longer play with an AI on hard difficulty level. I've put him on medium, and I've had a lot more fun. But I swear, the game knows what cards everybody has, knows the solution, and at a certain time will just trigger and say, boom, hard AI character on hard mode solves the case. Based on what information? I didn't even have all the information yet. It was still early in the daggum game. So, yeah, but I'm still having a lot of fun playing it because Clue is one of my favorite board games. And, having a video game version, it takes really good notes for you. Stuff that when I was a kid, I didn't always think of taking notes, like because we thought that everybody would just show whatever card they had whenever you went into a room and you suggested something. Well, that's not the way you play. You're actually the person on your left. If they have something, we'll show you one card. If they had all 3 of their things, they're only going to show you 1 card. But what you can do is if you have something that goes around a few of the other players, you can mark on your notes that, okay, this person did not have that card and not have this card and not have that card. And you can keep track of what players don't have as well as what players do have. And then you can actually make deductions that way and figure out, wait a minute, I've had this thing go around and plus pay attention to what other players do, because then you'll realize, oh, hey, when this person suggested that, none of these other people had that card, so you might figure out what the weapon is or something based upon even what somebody else suggested, and as it goes around the room. So, yeah, it takes really good notes, and as long as you're paying attention to what you're doing, you can make some pretty good inferences and some deductions and win the game. And so I'm having a lot of fun. I'm going to try to teach Heather that, because Heather doesn't like to play games with me because she thinks I'm going to beat her at every board game we ever play, which is not true. I think she's just been this way ever since we played a Star Wars Trivial Pursuit DVD game, and I won for knowing obscure things like that Keira Knightley was one of the extras in Phantom Menace, and also not Slice Noodles, but I always forget his name, but I used to know it, and I knew this character's name, who's in Jabba's palace. He's the little that guy. Yeah.
Well, that is pretty random, she's not a nerd like we are.
Yeah. Well, she is, but she's a different type.
Oh, she's a sweetheart.
Yeah, if she loses at a game, she's so competitive, she will not play it with me again. And so now she won't play any board games with me because, well, what am I going to play? You're just going to win. I was like,
hey, I understand that.
For crying out loud.
I agree with it. I'm saying I understand it. I know people who are that way, but not, I'm not that way.
Yeah.
Here's the truth. The games I play, wrestling games and other things. Whether I win or lose, I enjoy it. The only thing I don't like is whenever I'm doing my best and someone's mocking me, and that bothers me.
Yeah.
They're like, "What's the matter? Are you that dumb?" And you're like, wait a minute now. Hang on." That bothers me because I'm insecure already.
Now I'm in for a little bit of like a mild trash talk of like, I'm gonna get you. Yeah. I'm coming for you. You're going down. Yeah, that's fine. But yeah,
that doesn't bother me. Now I know your very favorite trash talker is Andre the Giant. I'll get you.
I will get you.
Long story, right? Hey, speaking of which, now this is not the games, but this is something Jeremy and I do. But I recently bought, as you know, Jeremy, the Princess Bride figures.
Yeah.
I'm all excited because I found there's a new series that I didn't know about. Remember, I was complaining they didn't have the little feller, Wallace Shawn's character.
Inconceivable.
They have him, and they have a couple other characters. I'm going to order those because I got to get. I want all of those. They even have an Andre with the cloak, but I'm not going to get that because the only difference is the cloak. And I don't need that.
But getting like Miracle Max, the albino.
Yeah.
Some of these characters.
All those yet.
Oh.
The only difference I've seen so far is I can't think of his name right now. The guy prepared to die. My name is
Inigo Montoya.
Yeah, they have him with his arms all bloody from the.
Oh.
And they have I don't know that I'm going to get that one. And they have the girl, the princess,
Buttercup.
Buttercup. Excuse me, Honeydew. Hello, where'd that come from? Buttercup. They have her with her blue dress on with the. I think it was her wedding dress, really.
Yeah.
And then they have, of course, the pirate.
Dread Pirate Robert.
His name.
Outfit.
Wesley. Well, they have him as Wesley with his mask off and with blood on his shoulder from where he was bit.
Yeah.
And I plan on getting that, especially, and probably her, and definitely the little guy. But I don't know yet if I'll get the other one with the bloody arms.
Vizzini, I believe, isn't he? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Vizzini. Yeah.
I get the names all mixed up. But anyway, I saw those. I was like, oh, that's cool. I like that.
And they got to do a Count. I keep wanting to call him Count Drugel. I don't know if that's the right name, but yeah, they need to make sure they have him and have his 6 fingers. Or is it Ruben?
You're talking to Christopher Guest character.
Yeah, Christopher Guest. He's Count Rugel or something. I don't know.
To be honest with you, that's the only reason why I've been thinking about maybe I should just go ahead and get the bloody armed, one because of that. If they make one of him,
yeah.
I'm like, man,
or is it Count Rugen? Somebody's probably yelling at their phone or something right now.
It's Rugen. Yep. Rugen.
Humperdinck. So
Humperdinck.
Which I figure they're gotta make a figure of Humperdinck eventually.
Well, at first I thought all they was going to make was the 4 that I ordered, but I thought, well, because listen, you already know this, Jeremy. I had been designing this stuff as a kid. I was like, Dad, I make toys of it because, I'm a nerd.
Yeah.
Heck, I would love it. And I'm a nerd. Man, I collect all that junk. But I would love it if they had like a little bed with Fred Savage and the grandpa sitting there talking to them. I love all that stuff. I love all that junk.
Yeah,
I even got the
just
big
one
book.
more thing. Yeah.
Yeah, just one more thing.
You just want a Peter Falk figure,
Oh, I would love if they made a Columbo figure.
Yeah. That would be pretty awesome.
Oh, and here's another thing going on collectible stuff. I found a place where I can design my own ties, and it costs me like $25. But I'm designing a Lonesome Dove tie and everything else, and shoot, I may just make us a real tie of our old comic book characters. Because you can put your own drawings on there from your phone and stuff, and
oh my goodness.
And your own pictures. I mean, I'm actually thinking about making a tie for our church just for me, but still, that'd be fun.
To add to the thousands of ties you already have.
I have over 300 ties. I've got over 200, probably nearly 300 ties now.
You could wear a tie every day of the year and not have a repeat.
That's the truth.
Oh my goodness!
Fun ties, most of them. Now there are some regular ties, but they're real fun ties. I mean, you can name it. I got a Garfield. I got a lot of Charlie Brown, Mickey Mouse. You name it, I got it. Yes, I heard you, SpongeBob. I got SpongeBob.
Oh gosh. Well, we gotta get to a conversation with Gary Wolf here, so we probably should get the show moving. And of all the news I got, everything is actually pretty much a YouTube video.
Spanning the Disney and geek universe to bring you the best in comics, toys, movies, and entertainment. This is news from around Neverland.
Now, clearly, Nintendo forgot to put a patent on Super Smash Brothers because everybody's making their version. I've already heard something about there's a Nickelodeon version, but really? I did not know that this was coming out. This is called Multiverses. This is being put out by Warner Brothers, and it's kind of a flex of Warner Brothers saying, guess what characters we own?
Strange energy signature.
Oh, no, you can play that.
Computer.
Are you there?
What's my location?
Oh, sorry.
Computer.
I bet you can't hear this, can you?
I can't.
Hey, dude, what's going on here?
Well, Batman was just teleported onto an island. Shaggy was teleported with him. And on the other side of the field, here comes Bugs Bunny and Arya Stark from Game of Thrones.
Look out!
And now they're fighting.
Hey!
Bugs Bunny throws the pie at Batman, which was stopped by a sandwich from Shaggy, who then decides to eat the pie with the sandwich.
What'd I do to you?
Shaggy's going to go all crazy now and fight, but yeah. There's not a lot of dialogue, really, for this to be a full trailer. And it just kind of showcases some of the different characters you're going to see. I'm going to go ahead and stop the video since you can't hear it and it's 2.5 minutes long. But there was an open alpha, an open beta is on the way, so I've gotten to see some gaming channels have gotten a chance to play it. But let me read what it says here. In Multiverses, the multiverse is at your fingertips as you battle it out in intense 2v versus 2 matches up against Batman and Shaggy. Try using Bugs Bunny and Arya Stark. This platform fighter lets you play out your fantasy matchups in a fun co-op or head-to-head fight for supremacy. Multiverses is an all-new, free-to-play platform fighter video game with an ever-expanding cast of iconic characters and legendary universes. Multiverses will feature multiple online modes, including team-based 2 versus 2 format, 1 versus 1 matches, and 4-player free-for-all, along with upcoming content-filled seasons. So they're kind of basically turning the concept of what Super Smash Brothers did with Nintendo and bringing in the concept of the Battle Royale where you have seasons so you can kind of change things out. But on this, you got, of course, Superman, you got your Wonder Woman, Tom and Jerry, there can count as one playable character, Tom and Jerry do. Velma is on here to team with Shaggy. I mean, lots of different characters. For starters, some of the characters you have to unlock when you first get it on the alpha. The closed alpha, when I saw them playing, they were trying to unlock Batman because they wanted to team him up with Bugs Bunny. Now, the one thing I find is odd because a lot of these characters are Cartoon Network characters like Finn and Jake from that one show I didn't watch. There's also Steven Universe, but I mean, most of these characters are cartoon characters aimed pretty much at the kids, right? We're aiming at the kids. What the heck is the Game of Thrones character doing in there?
That's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, the kids who are going to be watching Steven Universe are not old enough to watch Game of Thrones. They should not be watching Game of Thrones, because I've watched an episode and holy cow, you do not want to let a kid watch that show.
Yeah.
That's even more than what I care to watch. I don't need to see an incest thing and we don't need this in a game that you're aiming to have all these child characters. So I find that to be really weird. I mean, put more DC characters. I want to see Fred and Barney as a team. Heck yeah, brother.
That'd be fun.
I mean, if Warner Brothers is going to flex and say, you know what, we actually own Hanna-Barbera and we have all these other characters, bring them in there. They got all the DC characters. I go for it. I'll have a ball playing with all that. So I'm actually excited that it is free to play. I bet you'll have to pay for some characters or some other modes or something later. They'll find ways to get you to nickel and dime your way through. But since I can play for free, I mean, I'm gonna unlock Batman and Superman and be world's finest and whoop the tail out of every little cartoon character that comes along. You and I are going to have a ball with this.
Oh, yeah, that sounds like a blast. That's stuff that we would have as a child. Oh, my gosh, we would have had a blast with that.
And they even have different styles of the characters. You know, some are like Batman and Shaggy are both brawlers. Wonder Woman and Superman are tanks. Bugs Bunny counts as like a wizard or whatever, because he's all projectiles, because he throws pies, he can fire rockets, he can drop safes. You know, Taz, I think, is also a brawler. You know, he's got a spin maneuver. But I mean, they really thought out the type of ways that these characters would fight. And when I was watching, I'll have to send you some video on YouTube so you can watch some people play in this. But oh my goodness, this just looks like a lot of fun. Of course, I loved Super Smash Brothers on Nintendo. I don't own it for Switch yet, but I mean, they've just kept that game going. They keep adding new characters on the Nintendo Switch. And, you know, all the other, it's kind of like how Street Fighter 2 set a standard for fighting games. And then all the other gaming companies realized, you know what, you don't actually own a patent for what a fighting game is. So all these other companies started stepping in and making their own fighting games. It seems like Nintendo didn't put enough of a patent to say, no, this type of a brawler type of game is ours and you can't do it. And now, you know, Nickelodeon's made one, which I'm not that concerned with. But then now Warner Brothers is making this one with, you know, characters I actually would want to play with. I'm in. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Alrighty, something else that this is also good. I haven't actually watched this video. I don't know what we got for audio, and poor Philip is not going to be able to hear it anyway.
Bah weep grogna weep ninny bog. Excuse me, my friend. Destiny has caused our worlds to collide. Let us join forces, and together we can be more than meets the eye. Engage brick mode. Now all we need is a little energon. All systems go. Megatron will blow a gasket when he sees this. It's time. It's Lego Optimus Prime time.
Now this, for Philip's sake, that since he didn't get to see this, Lego Optimus Prime.
Oh.
Yeah. So not only can you build Optimus Prime, but he will transform after you've built him. You can transform into the diesel mode, and it's old school style Optimus Prime. So now Transformers are expensive toys. Lego sets like this are also expensive, so I can't imagine how much this is going to retail for. But oh my gosh, it looks really fun. And I wonder if this is just the beginning of Transformers characters being brought into Lego.
That sounds fun. How big is it?
Looks pretty good size. I mean, this was like a kind of almost a cinematic trailer thing where they're just showing it, but they're not showing the actual toy. But my guesstimate would be it's probably a good 7 to 8 inches tall, I think. So it's about the size of a Transformers toy.
So about the actual size then.
Yeah, it's about the actual size. From what, you know, but it's a computer model. You're not getting to see the actual toy because they wanted to animate and have him, you know, they have a really bad impersonation of Optimus Prime's voice there, but you know, they wanted to have it be like, it's time for our worlds to cross, you know, Transformers are entering the Lego dimension. So, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, for us, it's always going to be the same guy.
Right.
We're here.
Peter,
you know,
Peter Cullen, yes.
I knew it was Peter, but I couldn't remember the last name.
Yeah. But yeah, this is not Peter Cullen. It sounds a little closer to the guy who does the Honest Trailers voice.
Oh, really?
but not quite that guy. I mean, it sounds like somebody's trying to impersonate him, too. So,
Funny.
But
That's funny.
That's something that's like, yep, if I had the money, there's a lot of Lego stuff I'd get, but I can't afford it. But here's this other game. Now, I can't go through the whole thing on this. This is a 7-minute long thing, and most of it is audio. So I'll just play that little bit of audio, about 12 seconds of audio, and let me just read what it says here on the YouTube channel for IGN. Second Dinner, the independent studio founded by former Hearthstone director Ben Brody. Now, if you're familiar with Hearthstone, that is a card game that Blizzard made. It's based in the world of Warcraft. It's a pretty fun game. But finally unveiling the mysterious Marvel project he's been working on for the last few years. It's called Marvel Snap, and it's a free-to-play collectible card game and battler published by ByteDance Gaming arm called Newverse. Now, this video popped out on the 19th. I don't know when this game is actually released. It might be available. I have a feeling it's on your mobile game system. So I would look for this now. It's called Marvel Snap. And basically, it's going to be a card game with Marvel characters. And, of course, it's collectible. So I'm sure you can spend a little money to get certain cards unlocked, or you can just try to unlock it by playing the game. Either way, I'm willing to give it a shot because I had some fun playing Hearthstone years ago. It was a pretty fun game. I didn't go and play a lot of online games because people playing online, if they've purchased cards, they're going to have more powerful cards than I am. Oh, look, my low glucose alarm just went off. If you're hearing that beeping, you're going to hear another beep as I test my blood sugar just to see how low my blood sugar is. Well, now it's not. Oh, wow. Blood sugar is getting low, but not super low. So, all right, I can keep the show going. Yeah. All right. There's one of them crazy things to keep going. But I guess we better get this moving straight into the trailer park here so I don't keel over.
Mama, another gator got in the house.
Another gator? Give me that shovel. Come here.
Get him on. Get that gator.
The Neverland Trailer Park.
Now, once again, here's something else I haven't even watched yet, and poor Philip won't be able to hear, but they released, and they're calling it Destiny. It's another little quick preview of the Ms. Marvel series coming for Disney+. As soon as the audio starts, here we go.
How does she convince everyone that she's good?
Good is not a thing you are, Kamala. It is a thing you do.
I know dressing up as Captain Marvel's weird. I spend too much time in Fantasyland.
Cool. Is this 90s?
That is just junk.
What does it feel like?
Like an idea come to life. Everything's changing really fast.
If you save one life, you saved the world.
So this starts on June 8th.
Are you sure that we can keep that on?
To no mind.
It's a lawsuit.
Great, that'll make Captain Marvel in court. And we'll be the first case in the American judiciary to hug it out.
Okay, there we go. So Ms. Marvel, an original series from Marvel Studios, starts streaming June 8th on Disney+. This is basically... from what they keep showing of this, and some people who were fans of the character were a little upset about it, she's not using her powers the way you expect, where she's kind of enlarging, basically being Mr. Fantastic. And in order to keep her from being compared to Mr. Fantastic, clearly, she's got like energy that she's using. Now, I don't know if they're going to continue with her, because I believe she's supposed to be an Inhuman. I don't know if they're keeping that, because in this little bit, they show her having the bracelet that's like a family heirloom that she puts on, and it seems to do something to her. Now, maybe it will be part of like the Inhumans. They, what do they breathe? It's like a mist. I forget what it's called now. Yep. Because I don't pay attention to Inhumans. But yeah, that's what, maybe it's going to have some of that in it, and that's what's going to trigger her abilities as an Inhuman. I don't know. I'm not sure where they're going with this. But I don't care. I'm going to watch it, though, but I'm really not that interested in the character. So how about you? You planning to watch this?
Well, I'll give it a whirl, kind of like I do so many things. Yeah. But if it doesn't capture me, Because, sometimes things capture me. And and I'll be honest, sometimes I get, I don't want to use the word bored because you know me, Jeremy. I a lot of times will go back and watch All in the Family, Andy Griffith, the old stuff. And sometimes I just try to do things just for the heck of it,
Right.
And in this case, I may watch and say, well, why not? But sometimes it just kind of rubs me the wrong way. Or I'll just say, well, I always play it in the background while I'm playing video games.
Yeah.
And sometimes I get surprised sometimes. I might end up liking it. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe that'll suck me in. But I'm like, I really am not that interested in this character. But really, I've watched a lot of stuff from Marvel that's characters like, oh, I'm not that interested in that. Like, of course, Eternals, I really didn't know anything about it, but it was a Jack Kirby creation. So I was like, let me check it out. And that was a disappointment. But most of the stuff they've put out has been characters that, like, even if I wasn't that familiar with the character, I was like, I'm curious, I want to check it out. This so far has not caught my attention, but I'll watch at least an episode and see if it captures my attention because they've been, in my opinion, they've done fairly well with some of these Disney Plus series that Marvel's made. I've enjoyed them for the most part.
Guardians of the Galaxy was kind of like that for me in the beginning, and by that I don't mean when I saw it.
Yeah. When
I first looked at it on the comic books, I saw bits of it and I said, this looks strange. And this was like, I want to say 2003, and maybe not then. It might have been later on. I just remember it was in the early millennium when I first saw it. They were kind of rebooting it on some comic book form or something. And I remember it said, it looks strange to me. But I remember looking at it and I thought, well, it might not be too bad. So I read a little bit about it, but nothing I ever thought would be in a big film. And so when I saw the movie, boy, did it surprise me.
Yeah. And I at first with Guardians of the Galaxy, because I knew nothing about it. I didn't know. I was like, what it was. But I think by the time I got to see that second trailer, I think it's about the time I was like, you know what? This looks like a lot of fun. So
it was Wizard. Remember the Wizard magazine?
Oh, yes.
It was Wizard. Yeah, Wizard was always the way I found out about stuff back then, before we were online, and they did a good job.
Yeah.
They really did a good job of trying to get you pumped up about stuff. Because it's like, if you like so-and-so and you like this, and if you like Avengers and you also kind of like Ninja Turtles, you may like. And that was kind of a neat way of getting you pumped up. Kind of compare with this and that and this. That was a good idea, actually.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We need a hero, and we're going to get a different kind of hero, which is he's a Marvel character, but he's a Disney version of a Marvel character, very much. We're actually getting a new season or a new series for Baymax.
Oh, really?
Morning, Baymax. Baymax?
Hello, kitty kitty. I am Baymax. My apologies. Please enjoy your ramen.
Let's go find Baymax.
Speeding and erratic driving are not conducive to good health.
I guess a hero's job is never done.
I was alerted to the need for medical attention.
Yeah! Ow! My ankle.
When you said, ow, my ankle. When you said, aitai, ah.
Oh, no.
When you said, oh, no, I will scan you now.
Scan me? What?
It is not a big deal.
Please remain calm. You did not remain calm.
Alrighty, so Disney
Are you
animation.
sure you can run things down there?
Do not worry about the cafe, Cass. Everything will be fine.
I thought
Parents, streaming on Disney Plus.
Well, there we go. So Disney Animation Studios' Baymax, streaming exclusively on Disney Plus, June 29th. The all-new series of healthcare capers returns to the fantastical city of San Francisco, where the affable, inflatable, here we go. There's a fun word. Inimitable healthcare companion robot Baymax sets out to do what he was programmed to do: help others. I'm excited. I love Baymax anyway. I don't know if this is connected. They had a Big Hero 6 animated series that was on the Disney Channel, I guess, for a while. I think it might be on Disney Plus. It probably is. I haven't gotten around to watching any of that. I always meant to. I just never got around to it. But I don't think you have to watch that in order to watch this. This seems like it connects a little bit more to the movie. It's the same animation of the movie. Sounds like the same voices from the movie. And it's Baymax doing what he's supposed to do. He's trying to go and help people with medical things. And I love this little section he's got in here where he's like, I was triggered when you said, ouch.
Yeah, he's very cute. He reminds me of a toy I would have had as a kid. Not necessarily that they actually worked like that, but because we were lucky if you could get him to light up back then. You know, that's just the way it was back in the day. The only way you could have an ET with a light up finger is if it was painted red.
Right.
I mean, that's the way it was. But that being said, back in the day, in my mind, my toys were alive, and in my mind, my toys would talk to me.
Yep.
And they were all sweet and loving. My teddy bear spoke to me. My chipmunks, I'm talking about Alvin, Simon, Theodore, they all spoke to me and were with me every day.
Yep, and it's that type of thing that brought us to the Toy Story series.
That's right.
That's because we all knew that our toys were alive. So
yeah, that's right.
All right, and keeping things moving, we also got a look at She-Hulk, Attorney at Law.
Being a superhero is a trial by fire. Who's gonna protect the world if not people like you?
Jennifer Walters. I'm a lawyer. I have great friends.
Can we get some shots, please? It's an emergency.
A demanding job.
We just started a superhuman law division, and I want you to be the face of it.
And a frustrating family.
Because we didn't ask for this, but you still got to deal with it. Your transformations are triggered by anger and fear.
Those are like the baseline of any woman just existing. Oh. Ruth, kind of feels like if I don't transform, I'm gonna die.
Yes, yes, yes. No, no.
I just want to be a normal, anonymous lawyer.
Can you tell us where She-Hulk is? Jen, you're a story now.
Girl, your ass looks crazy right now. You could be an Avenger.
Oh, I'm not a superhero. That is for billionaires and narcissists and adult orphans for some reason. Is there anything more depressing than dating in your 30s?
Yeah, this is the best date I've had in a while.
Oh.
Should we split some fries?
Let's get those to go.
All right, so She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, original series from Marvel Studios, starts streaming August 17th on Disney+. And I'm actually kind of excited because I have some She-Hulk comics. It's usually very, very funny comics to get, especially, and I love that they're going from the concept of she's like a superhero attorney, so she can deal with heroes, villains, and we're bringing back the Abomination here, and I guess she's going to maybe represent him or prosecute him. I don't know. I think she's mainly done a lot of defense. Because I think like some of the comics I have, like even when Dan Slott was writing for She-Hulk, and it was really good what he actually did with She-Hulk. There was a thing with Star Fox that he had apparently been using his powers on women, and she had been defending him, but she turned on like, wait a minute, you did that to me too, didn't you? So yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to this. I know that some people have been complaining, saying the CG doesn't look very good for She-Hulk. I think it actually looks just as good as Hulk does in this. I haven't seen any problems, but if there's any cleanup needs to be done, they have till August before this thing premieres, so they have time to clean it up.
I personally hope that they clean it up. I'm looking forward to it, as you know. I've always been a She-Hulk fan because when I was 14, well, there's a lot of reasons. When I was real little, I remember when she was brand new, and I was about 3 or 4, and I remember going to Hardee's, and they had these they had these kind of like these 3D looking goggle things, and you could read these comic books we'd receive. And I remember my brother got Captain America, and one of them got Spider-Woman. I ended up getting She-Hulk and a couple other things. Anyway, I kind of became a fan because I like Hulk, obviously, from the TV show. And then when I was older, I was 14, I had a brain tumor and I was in the hospital and suffering. And
the first brain tumor.
Yeah, the first one. My brother-in-law, I knew he had first of all, I was 14, so I like girls and all that.
Yeah.
And she was attractive and everything. And she looked so much better then at that run. They started bringing her back at that time when they really started bringing her back in 1990, 89, 90, because she kind of disappeared for a short time in the mid 80s, where they used her in the background, but they didn't have much of her own comic. Well, they brought her back and they started trying to make her look attractive, because before that, when they first came around, she was just like kind of just a female version of Hulk.
Yeah, she was the like savage She-Hulk.
Yes,
which they're skipping that all together apparently.
Yeah, and that's okay. I understand that. And so she was attractive now, and my brother-in-law brought me an entire bag full of comic books, and like a huge old grocery store bag. And in that, there was tons of She-Hulk, because I still have them. And there was Blue Devil as well from DC. I love that. Anyway, I read them, and that really got to me. That he did that for me, and I still have them. And so She-Hulk means a lot to me. The only thing I'll say about it is I do hope that they have time to fix a little bit. I think they will, because some of it looks a little too CGI, where, of course, we have to understand, though, in the Hulk films, those are for the big screen. They had, more time and more money and all that. But in this case, I think they'll fix it. I think it was just a preview. Hopefully they'll be able to fix it. But I'm not saying it was horrible. It wasn't horrible. It's just that some things looked a little off. But, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, the animation looks good because that's clearly motion captured. Same way they're doing Hulk. They let, I forgot the actor's name who's been playing Hulk. They let him motion cap for all the stuff for Hulk, and looks like they did the same thing here. So, I mean, it looks good. So I haven't seen what people have been kind of complaining about. I think some people have been wanting to complain with some of the videos I watch on YouTube. I was like, you're just looking for something to nitpick. Well, but,
some of the people are stupid, and I hate to say this because one of them I'm a fan of, a guy named, well, I'm not going to say his name.
Yeah.
But there's a guy, but he also doesn't know anything about comics, really. And it was something he said that I found somewhat offensive, but he said, in his opinion, it was just more or less, he was like, they're just doing this to make a female version of Hulk. And I'm like,
she's been around there for a while. Yeah.
This came out in 1980.
Yeah. She's been part of the Fantastic Four even at one point.
I have a toy of that. Well, you know what? I don't know if I actually had the costume of her in the Fantastic Four outfit, but either way, she's with my Fantastic Four figures. But the point of all that is to say, I'm a huge fan, and she's been around all this time. What is that now? Over 30 years. She's been around, and where you been? But he was sitting there saying, he said something to the effect of, I don't know, I don't read comics, I'm a man. And I was like, oh, okay, I see. So that was kind of insulting. I was like, you do realize that over half the people that watch you, anyway, all that being said, I thought that's somewhat insulting. But either way.
Somewhat.
Yeah, I was like, I see. So that being said, doesn't mean I don't like the guy, but I thought that he kind of went a little low on that. But.
Yeah. Well, I got to keep things moving. We're actually running out of time. I actually have two clips, two different listings for Thor, Love and Thunder, but we'll do that next. I'm going to skip over what I was going to play. I never watched The Orville, although I actually heard it turned out to be pretty good, but it's coming to Disney Plus with a new season or new series called The Orville New Horizons. I've been told that I might actually like it. I was kind of like, because it's Seth MacFarlane, and his style of humor is not my style of humor. But I guess, though, the way he did this, he had such love for Star Trek that it's actually fairly respectful of that, and it's more on the lines of Galaxy Quest. So it's almost like a love letter. So I
have seen some of that.
I would like to, if they put all the other seasons up on Disney Plus, I'll watch the other seasons before I watch this. But I'm not going to play the audio because we're running out of time. But I want to get straight into Thor, and then we can jump into our movie review.
Kids, get your popcorn now. Let me tell you the story of the space Viking, Thor Odinson. He was no ordinary man. he was a god.
After saving planet Earth for the 500th time, Thor set off on a new journey. Well, he got in shape. He went from dad bod to god bod. And after all that, he reclaimed his title as the one and only Thor. Oh, spoke too soon.
Jane?
The old ex-girlfriend.
What's it been, like 3, 4 years?
8 years, 7 months and 6 days, give or take.
Am I, sensing feelings?
Well, you're right.
The only ones who gods care about is themselves.
So this is my vow.
All gods will die.
I just want to say that was very, very impressive what you did back there.
It's just my first bad guy.
You never forget your first.
You are not like the other gods I've killed.
Because I have something worth fighting for.
Let's see who you are. I take off your disguise. And flick.
Oh.
Flick too hard, damn it!
Should we help him? And eventually, grape.
All right, so July 8th, Thor, Love and Thunder is coming, and I love that Taika Waititi has directed this one and given it that same or almost 70s kind of flair of fun going on with this. That's the most exciting thing really about this is as having it that style. The one thing that I hope that they do right, bringing in Jane Foster, is I hope she doesn't, I want her to have a learning curve because, okay, so she's shown up, she's got the hammer, so now she's got the power. I want to see her learning to use it because she's not been in a fight before that we know of. So she, just because you've got the power doesn't mean you're going to be that good with it yet, right? So I want to see her learning how to use her powers as this goes on and watch her progress. So we can look at her as being a new growing hero and give her a good origin story in this. Because clearly we're passing the torch on. But I hope that they do it right and not just make her just like, oh, because I have power, I now have all the fighting skills I possibly need. I'm like, well, no, you don't. You've never been in a fight. You're a scientist, So yeah. I want to see her learn to use those powers. So, but I'm excited for this because it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. Because that last Thor movie was so great.
Yeah, and that director is a lot of fun.
Oh yeah,
he's very wink, have a good time. I would love to see Jeff Goldblum, but that's not going to happen.
Well, they might find a way to squeeze him in. He's still alive, right? So
I think he is.
Yeah. So, but we do get Christian Bale as Gore, the God Killer.
Oh man,
he's almost unrecognizable.
But see, one thing about him is, and I'm using this correctly this time, he is a character actor. When he gets into something, he gets into it. I mean, this is a guy who loses all the weight in the world for a guy who's starving. Yeah. And then he puts on all the weight.
Puts on all that muscle to be Batman.
Yeah, and in fact, he put on too much weight at first. Remember they called him Batman?
Yeah.
And this is a guy, when he gets into it, he really becomes it.
He throws himself into a character big time.
And when I first was looking up the character, when I first heard this was months ago, heard who he was, almost a year ago, I heard who he was going to play. I looked up the character, very interesting. The guy was all white, yet he reminded me of Venom, where he had this black stuff coming off of him.
Yeah.
And so when I saw this picture, there was a picture, and he had this black stuff coming out of his mouth. Almost, you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of that scene near the end of Batman, where Batman Returns, where Penguin had, where Penguin had that junk,
Ew.
Yeah. So, but I was sitting there thinking, it looks like they're going to use that even. I just don't know to what extent, but we'll see.
We will see, yeah. But with that, and then Russell Crowe as Zeus. I mean, come on, this has got some heavy caliber actors in this thing.
Perfect, really. Perfect. He's perfect for that.
Yeah, after Gladiator.
Well, Gladiator and I don't mean this is well, maybe I don't know. Not a huge fan, but still, he has a real way about him where he kind of look full of himself and egotistical. Well, he does, but I don't mean that as an insult to him. I just mean he's good at that role.
Yes, he can play it very well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited. This is coming in July. We got a little while to wait, but we got plenty of fun stuff to watch on Disney Plus, clearly, while we're waiting for this to come along. But now, because we got to keep the show moving, it's time for a movie review. And then after the movie review, we'll just dive right into our conversation. Well, my conversation with Gary K. Wolf, creator of Jessica Rabbit. But before I hit this button, I want to remind you, of course, to visit our website at neverlandpodcast.com, because I have a little link in there. If you happen to have a podcast, my podcast reviews, click on the little banner there, like midway down the page, and you can sign up. I think it's like $50 a year is all I'm paying, really. And I get every review that anyone makes sent to me on my email, so I can see all different types of reviews that come in, so I know how people think I'm doing. And hey, by the way, if you haven't left a review for the show, you can very easily, because of my podcast reviews, leave a review for the show, and I do encourage you to do that because I want to know, am I scratching the itch for you? Are you enjoying the show? I want to know. I want to hear from you. So make sure you visit the website and leave a review. And if you happen to have a podcast, set up an account so you can get all the reviews and see them. It's a really great service. But now, here we go with the movie review.
Want to see a movie?
Yeah, any good?
It was bad?
I'm fuzzy on the whole good-bad thing.
My eyeballs could have been sucked from their sockets.
I like it a lot. The best movie ever made.
A Fandom Nexus movie review.
Well, you know, sometimes some crimes go slipping through the cracks, so we need a couple of gumshoes to pick up the slack sometimes, don't we? Would you say? Uh-oh, I lost Philip.
No, I'm here.
Oh, there you are.
I didn't know what you were saying. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what you just decided to quit paying attention to me. So have the listeners by now anyway. But anyways, so we had a film version of Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers, and it is no secret. Everything I'd seen or heard about this, I was like, oh, I don't know about this. And even with that last trailer, I was like, wow, they're really trying to get into that Roger Rabbit area. And frankly, I've had a lot of people who will say with all these film franchises, they're kind of getting a big boot back into modern times or whatever. They're bringing it back. There's been people who worry that they're going to rely so much on the nostalgia that they're not going to bother creating a story. And I mean, Ghostbusters Afterlife walked really close to that line of almost rehashing some of the same story that we'd already gotten, but they did it in just a way that it was a tribute towards Ghostbusters. Now, this Chip and Dale movie relied so heavily on nostalgia and bringing all these cameo characters that I swear every 5 seconds there's a different character. You could make a drinking game out of this and be drunk before you got 10 minutes into the movie.
Luckily, we don't do that.
That's all this movie had, and it was even so far to where they had a T2 reference clearly in there, where one character's kind of liquefied, and I even hear the drums kind of go chun 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 chun. Before they...
Oh, no, they did it. That is what it was.
Yeah, it was totally a T2 reference. But there's no originality into the quote-unquote jokes. Their jokes was like, oh, look, that character's in the background. Or here's a sign, which, now, it was kind of amusing that they managed to get Butthead as a senator. But I'm like, well, that I bet that would happen. If there was somebody as dumb as Butthead, he probably would get elected in the world we have. So, but the jokes were just like... All the jokes was, what cameo have we snuck in the back somewhere, or what character has just showed up? Oh, that's the joke, is that you got to see that character. It really, that's all they relied upon, because the story didn't make a whole lot of sense, because you get to see Chip and Dale growing up, but then Peter Pan also, okay, so this still falls in line. Peter Pan has also, unfortunately, grown up as a cartoon. But yet we see a Lost Boy come along later who has not grown at all, and he's still a little kid in a Lost Boy outfit. But they're not supposed to be Lost Boys that really live in Neverland. They're toon actors that were acting in a series a la Roger Rabbit. So it didn't make sense that this character didn't grow up. Also, when the entire plot revolves around being able to erase parts of you and rewrite parts of you, why couldn't Peter Pan, when he's having a problem of, well, I'm growing up and people don't want a grown up Peter Pan, why couldn't he just go through the same process that he's doing and make himself into a younger looking cartoon? Because you could just erase the stubble, you could erase the beer belly, whatever they put on him. It just didn't make any daggum sense. Now, the difference between this and Roger Rabbit is Roger Rabbit was original and it was clever, and it didn't rely on all the characters you see in the background for a joke or for story. The only thing that I guess qualifies as being almost meta or a joke is this is a reboot of something that keeps making jokes about needing a reboot. And they even at the end of the film during the credits, they have forget what the critics say, which to me I was saying, in other words, make some garbage and exploit our nostalgia. Well, that's all this movie did, and it worked for a lot of people. And if you managed to have fun and enjoy this, good for you. I'm glad you had fun. I didn't, because I expected better.
Well, on the other side of that, to me, I didn't think it was going to be a great film, and it wasn't, but I didn't expect it to be, and I didn't think it was supposed to be. Therefore, I had a good time. But I wasn't. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers when the show was on. But where I personally enjoyed it was funny because it was just them as the actors, not as the characters, and the characters were fun. And if they ever wanted to do Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers again, they could, because this was luckily just a movie all by itself, and that was kind of fun. Where it's not what's the word we use in continuity?
Yeah, it's not in the universe, because the old show that we watched was supposed to be them as actors being in that show, which also doesn't address the concept that we had Chip and Dale cartoons all through the 30s, 40s, 50s. What about those?
Exactly. It doesn't make any sense in that situation. So therefore, that's why this is just kind of its own little, hey, by the way. See, in a way, it was kind of fun to get to see, as you said, most of the, I won't use the word story, but most of the fun of it is getting to see other characters. I enjoyed especially seeing He-Man and Skeletor.
Yeah. And I did appreciate Alan Oppenheimer was actually back voicing Skeletor.
Oh, sure. You could hear it.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed, and He-Man sitting there, huh? And that was fun. And I enjoyed seeing how the Chipmunks are talking about the Chipmunks, that was funny.
About Alvin and the Chipmunks, yeah.
Well, the funny part about that to me was you got to make kind of snide comments about the Chipmunks don't look as good in CGI to them as they did the cartoon type of things. And that's funny. And also about Baloo the Bear, he doesn't look as good in CGI as he does in the original. And that it's kind of comical because that's what a lot of us think anyway. And that's at least humorous because, many of us think that already because we're old school. We like the original. Yeah. And so we get to say that in this way. They're kind of making fun of themselves.
Yeah, because it's basically Baloo the Bear from Tailspin and Jungle Book is literally the one who was the live action, quote unquote, Jungle Book, although not voiced by anybody who's even trying to sound like the original voice or even Bill Murray. So I was like, oh, okay.
No. But, it was also just such a short scene. It would have been kind of weird just to have him come back for that. Plus, most of those actors are gone. Not Bill Murray necessarily, but, it's Bill Murray. You can't really. But anyway, then I liked how they even had a moment of Shrek with the shampoo. And they're kind of they're making fun of how they make anything and everything.
The merchandising. Where the real money from the movie is made.
That's kind of funny that they were mocking that. So I got a kick out of those kinds of things. I'm not saying it was a great flick one way or another, but I will say this. I did not like the way, and I think they did this on purpose, but I didn't care much for the way Dale looked in the CGI, the nostrils and all. I think they purposely made him a little overboard because it was just too much detail. And I was like, oh, he's not as lovable. Because Dale was a fun, and the voices, I recognize them, of course, the good actors, but I enjoyed the original voices and from the cartoon. And I did like that they sometimes would get laughing. I don't know that they were supposed to be drunk per se, but they would sometimes get to laughing and they'd sound more like themselves.
Yeah.
But I like the original voices. That's just me. But I did enjoy it in the sense that, will I ever watch it again? Probably not. Yeah. But now the reason why I did enjoy it was my nephew.
Oh,
I get to watch
there you
my
go.
nephew. And that's the reason why I enjoy cartoons as much as I do. So when I'm with my nephew, first of all, I enjoy them because it's a time of nostalgia. And I watch the original Rescue Rangers occasionally. But even more than Rescue Rangers, I enjoyed the original Chip and Dale cartoon.
Yeah.
And
with all the nostalgic references made in this movie, I mean, somebody as young as Freddie, I don't know if he would really be able to follow up with, like, who are all these people?
Enjoyed it, though.
Yeah.
He enjoyed it.
Well, that's good. Because I couldn't tell who they were making this movie for. It's like, it's very childish humor, but yet all the stuff you put in there, it seems to be aimed at the adults.
But he really loved all the characters, and luckily he knows a lot of the nostalgia because of his mother and I, and his mother, my sister, she likes a lot of the old school cartoons and stuff, and she collects a lot of Disney junk, or jazz, excuse me. And then me being me, and he knew He-Man and all them, and he knows all that. He's watched all that since he was a little baby, so he's like, hey, I know him, or oh, hey, Shrek, or hey. And so he laughed at it, and he really liked it. And I try to watch any kind of new cartoon, new movie, or whatever that he wants to watch. I'll watch most of the time. And there's some that are really hard for me, but I'll do it because I try to. You're only young once.
Yeah.
And he likes having an uncle that's willing to be young with him. So.
Yeah, because we grow wise, we grow strong, but we never grow up.
There you go.
There we go.
Hey, I like it. I like it.
Yeah, well, that's on the picture you bought me. That's here in my office.
That's right. I forgot about it.
Yeah.
I forgot about the statement. Not the picture.
Yeah. So, that's kind of our slogan around here. So, yeah, we just never grow up. But of course, we have to grow wise and strong because we still have to be adults, I guess.
That's right.
We just don't grow up as adults. We just have to do adult things.
I say it all the time. There's a difference between, I say this to folks because you got to see my office here at the church.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between being childish and childlike.
Right. And childlike positivity goes a long way because you have to be able to think positively because we live in a very dark world.
Absolutely. So, as we've seen.
There we go. But yeah, so if y'all managed to have fun watching it, then that's great. I'm happy you had a fun time, and I'm glad for you. I didn't have I had low expectations anyway, and my low expectations were met.
I did love seeing Darkwing Duck. That was funny.
Yeah, having Darkwing Duck in the end, and people are like, "Oh, we want Darkwing Duck." I'm like, "Oh no, please don't ruin Darkwing Duck 2."
Now, I will say, if they made a Darkwing Duck, I don't want it like that.
Yeah, I'd want Darkwing Duck. Like if they do a Gargoyles movie, I want gargoyles.
Yes, I don't
please.
want that for, at least with Rescuers, at least they did it on his own little thing like that.
Yeah.
But I would love to see a Darkwing Duck. You could do computer animated even. That wouldn't bother me. Although I do miss the classic animation. I miss that.
I love the good old hand-drawn.
Me too.
Because Chip didn't quite look right because it was a computer attempting to mimic the hand-drawn. I mean, and I know you have to kind of draw with the computer, but I know it just doesn't look the same as old classic hand-drawn.
It's not the, I don't know. Of course, I'm old school, but and also an artist. So, but I can see all the hard work, and it moves so smooth. And
it didn't look as smooth. Chip looked a little choppier than than he should have.
Yeah, like I said, I love the guy who does the voice. He is a good comedian, and he was. If you're going to go that route, like they did, they picked two guys personality-wise who's perfect for it. I can't think of his name right now, but he's
Will
really
Arnett
good.
was somebody in there, and I wasn't.
Oh, he was Will Arnett's a good actor too. He did. I'm trying to remember who it was that he played, but anyway, he did a good job too.
I knew that I knew the names, but I couldn't place faces. So I was just trying to stick with so this is what they sound like, and this is what they sound like, and okay, we're moving on. And I gotta say, with not knowing what the rules of the toons are, I don't know how in the heck the whole zipper and a gadget thing was supposed to work. But that was disturbing.
It was, but it's I gotta say, I was like, how's that gonna work? But I gotta say, it was kind of funny at the end where they showed their kids or whatever.
Yeah,
I was like, wow, that's funny.
That was funny. It was kind of I thought it was funnier getting to see in Muppets Most Wanted where the cross between Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy kids. Those were kind of funny looking. These were nightmare fuel for me, thinking like, oh, it's a fly and a mouse. Oh my, what in the heck? Ugh.
Is that a flouse? Is that what do you call that?
I don't know what you call that, but it does just don't make sense.
Well, that's two of the annoying things you have in your house: a fly,
and a mouse.
To get both, a flouse.
Yeah.
It's a flouse.
But yeah, that's one of those things that, in its own way, doesn't make sense. Kind of like Hagrid in Harry Potter. His mother's a giant. His father was a normal-sized human. I don't understand how that works.
Well, me neither.
And I'm not going to get into details here. But
no, me neither. I don't
you that are the grown up the adults that didn't grow up. There it is. I don't know how that works. But that's one of the things that's always in the back of my head, like how a fly and a mouse, how, I mean, they're toons, so maybe you can just draw your children.
Yeah, that's possible.
Maybe that's the idea. You could just draw your kids, but who knew possible. Zipper and Gadget had a love affair going on behind the scenes. But we got to wrap this and move into my conversation with one Mr. Gary K. Wolf. So let's roll that in here.
Will you stop this foolishness?
What foolishness would you like to see?
Okay, folks, we are here with, let's see, a yoga enthusiast, or do we call you a yogi at that point? Hey, boo-boo.
Well, I think yogi is the bear.
Oh, okay. Just wanted to be sure.
Maybe I'm a yogi wolf, I guess. Maybe.
Well, yoga enthusiast, author, creator, just all-around weird, goofy sense of humor kind of guy for coming up with the stuff you come up with. But everybody, this is Gary K. Wolf, known around the world as the creator of One White Rabbit. That is actually very funny. Roger Rabbit.
Hey, thanks. Nice to be here. And if you could see me right now, I'm sitting here. Roger is sitting next to me. He's eating a carrot. Jessica's out in the kitchen baking a carrot cake.
Oh yeah.
And I wish they could come on the phone too.
And of course, like the main thing, not only were we so happy for you to have created Roger Rabbit for us, but to have created Jessica Rabbit for us, which is kind of like the focal point.
Of all my characters, Jessica Rabbit seems to be the one that has struck the chord with the most amount of people. Whenever I give a talk or a speech or something, teenage boys bow down in homage to me as the guy who created Roger Rabbit, Jessica Rabbit. And I went to China a couple of years back, and I did some lectures on animation at the university. And when I gave my talk, every time I said Jessica Rabbit, the translator would translate it, and everybody would kind of laugh. And at the end, I said to the translator, "Why are you laughing when I say Jessica Rabbit?" And he said, "Well, in China, Jessica Rabbit is referred to as Big Melons." And I said, "Oh, well, that's good. That makes me the Big Melon Man."
I guess so.
But no, I created Jessica. Jessica's an ideal character for a lot of reasons. Jessica is a character that can be cosplayed by any kind of woman. If you're a little Zoftic, you can play Jessica Rabbit and look really, really good doing it. If you're, if you're a normal woman, if you're a slightly thin woman, anybody can play Jessica Rabbit. And I get a lot of guys playing Jessica Rabbit. They call themselves Jessie Rabbit, and they're just adorable. They generally play Jessica with a short red wig. They'll wear a red blazer, generally no shirt, open. All colors. I've had black Jessicas. I just saw Yaya Han, who was a Asian Jessica Rabbit cosplayer, who was incredible. She cinched herself up into a corset to make her waist. Thin, and she cinched it so tight that apparently she passed out.
Oh no!
Jessica strikes a chord with a lot of people, and I just wrote a Jessica Rabbit Origins novel, which is called Jessica Rabbit Serious Business, and it's spelled Xerious with an X. And I felt that Jessica needed a storyline of her own. People are always asking me a couple of questions. Where did toons come from, and how did Toontown come to be? And of course, how did Roger meet Jessica? And so I decided I was going to answer all of those questions in a novel. And the pandemic came along. I had 2 years with nothing to do except sit here and look out the window. So I said, I might as well write Jessica Rabbit Origins novel, which I did, and it's going to throw people a curveball, because in the novel, first of all, if people are going to go to it expecting a 1940s noir kind of setting, they're going to be disappointed, because it's set in modern times. But to me, Toons and Toontown are timeless. They exist in a universe all their own. You can flip back and forth easily from 1940s to modern day, probably even go into the future. And if you think about it, if they're set in the future, well, and they're actors, they made a movie set in the 1940s. And, all of that was make-believe. So that doesn't bother me that they're set in modern times. The other thing that people are really gonna wonder about, Jessica Rabbit is human. She starts out as a human, and she is a shop girl, poor shop girl named Jessica Krupnik. Works in a store called Wacky Wabbits, which is a kind of a toy joke store, and lives in a trailer park with her mean stepmother, her two mean stepsisters, and her equally mean three stepbrothers. And she just wants a better life, wants to have a life of adventure, wants to fulfill the destiny that she believes she was meant for. And then she sees an ad that is a wad ad asking for women who seek adventure. And so she goes to answer the ad and beats out all the other candidates and is recruited into an organization called Sirius, which is an organization that is built to apprehend criminal masterminds. So in the novel, my other novels, all the Roger Rabbit novels are noir mysteries. Mm-hmm. And I'm regarded on the same level with, Philip Marlowe and a lot of the guys who write, Dashiell Hammett, who write hard-boiled crime novels, except mine all have talking rabbits in them.
Right.
So this time I decided I wanted to explore a different genre. So I'm exploring the Ian Fleming, James Bond secret agent premise. And so Jessica in this novel is a secret agent. And you find out how Jessica goes from being a pretty ordinary, somewhat mousy shop girl to, Jessica Rabbit. You also in the course of the novel find out how she met Roger, how they fell in love, and where Toontown came from. I wanted to portray Jessica as a role model for women. And Jessica she's smart, she's attractive, she's resourceful, she's smarter than any of the men that she comes up against in the novel, and probably in life. She's certainly smarter than I am. And I wanted to portray her as the kind of woman that other women today would want to be. I wanted her to be a role model for girls and women everywhere. And I'm an old guy, and for a guy to write a story about a role model woman, not easily done, and I wasn't sure I could do it. So I wrote it, and along the way, I got help from a number of people. I have a lot of beta readers, and I had a number of them read drafts as I was going along to make sure that I wasn't demeaning women or in any way portraying Jessica in sexist terms. And they said, no, you're doing great. So at the end of the novel, when it was done, I had about 50 of my beta readers, all women, read it. And the results were pretty astounding. I mean, they all loved it, and they all thought that I portrayed Jessica as a realistic, although idealized woman. And the most common comment I got was, Jessica Rabbit is exactly the kind of woman I've always wanted to be. So I think I succeeded. And I got to tell you, let's go back in history a little bit. Let's go back in history and see why it's so hard for me, especially, to write about women. Because when I grew up in a little farm town in Illinois. And in that farm town, the boys, it was a warp of genetic possibilities. But the boys outnumbered the girls by 35 to 1. All right, so 35 boys to 1 girl. So, good.
Being that one girl, I tell you what, you're popular.
Yeah, really. So, I mean, good luck getting a date if you're the president of the checkers team. Okay,
right.
So, I had no sisters. I had some female cousins, but they lived quite a ways away, and I hardly ever saw them. My mother was a working woman. She worked in the school cafeteria, and she was not a feminine woman. I mean, she was my mother, but she wasn't the kind of woman you would teach you to dance, because she didn't know how herself. And so I never really understood woman. I think I maybe still don't. I don't know. But I remember, I finally remember the first date I had in high school. When I was a senior in high school, when I finally got a date. And I persuaded, I think she was a sophomore, really cute redheaded sophomore girl, to go out with me. And I mean, this was my one shot. So I said, all right, I am going to concoct the perfect date here. So I said, all right, we're going to get on the train. We lived in a town called Earlville, which is about 72 miles from Chicago. I said, we're going to get on the train. We're going to go up to Chicago. We're going to see one of those new widescreen movies everybody's talking about. Then we're going to go out for a nice dinner at a really fancy restaurant. We're going to go back to Union Station, get on the train, and go home. And, she went for that. Okay, I mean, who wouldn't? So we go to the train station in Earlville, and I give her ticket. She gets on the train, and I said, wait, I'm going to get her some snacks from the snack bar. So I go in the depot. I get some snacks. I come out. I'm getting ready to get on the train, and the conductor won't let me on the train.
Uh-oh.
And I say, well, I got a ticket. He says, no, I'm sorry. Your kind rides back there. And he points to the last car on the train. And I had no idea what he was talking about. I was clueless. So I went to the back car and got on. And that summer, I had worked for the state road crew. And so every day I was out working, shirt off, no hat. And I had a really, really deep tan. And he thought I was one of the Mexicans who worked on the train line.
Oh, goodness.
They called them candy dancers. And the last car was reserved for the Mexican candy dancers to go from, locale to locale to work on the train. And so I got on the last car, and it was all full of Mexican candy dancers. And I had no idea. I had never actually met a minority. I had no idea what this were, and I didn't know what to expect. And so I rode with these Mexicans all the way from Earlville up to Chicago, and they were a hell of a people. They shared their food with me and told me stories, and we just had a great time. And I realized that they were worse than I was, or better than I was, or even different than I was. They were basically the same as I was, except, and actually they were the same as I was, because our skin was the same color. So, I got off the train in Chicago, and I went immediately up to the front car and find my girl, and she got off. She was in tears. She was just crying uncontrollably because she had no idea where I was or what had happened. And so she got off the train. She just cashed in her ticket, turned around, got on the next train, and went back. And so that was my first date and my first experience with women. But what that planted the seeds for was Toontown. Because if you look at Toontown, what you have are characters, creatures, who are not better than humans, not worse, just different and funnier. And that's where the whole idea for a universe of toons came from that ride up to Chicago on a train with Mexican candy dancers. Yeah. And, and then later years when I finally got around to writing about Toontown and Who Says Roger Rabbit, and I wrote I wrote the characters, and I wrote Jessica, and of course it got published and whatever. And then I started doing movie work, and producers would come to me and they'd say, "All right, we got to discuss the women in your script." And they said, "We don't seem to really have a feel for women." And I said, "Well, I wrote Jessica Rabbit." And they said, "Well, if Jessica Rabbit is your idea of a woman, maybe you should stick to writing prison movies or war movies, so you don't have to deal with the feminine element."
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. But anyway, I think I hope that I have surpassed that, and I think I've done Jessica proud, and I think so far the sales of the book have been great, and the reviews, I can't remember. I think 2 of the reviews, I can't remember what the breakout is, but a lot of the reviews are women, and I'm gratified by that. And Jessica deserves her own book, and Jessica deserves to be set up there as a role model for everybody.
Yeah. And one thing she's always proven to me, because like one of my favorite couples of any film has always been Roger and Jessica. And there's a line from I don't know if you ever watched the television series Chuck, but there's a line in there that says, "Sometimes the nerd gets the girl."
Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
I was like, that's Roger and Jessica. And they look completely unlikely, but, Roger just being funny and being a weird person is exactly just who Jessica falls in love with. I love that.
Absolutely. And that's the relationship I explore here, because everybody wants to know, how did they meet? Why did she fall in love with him? And that's exactly the relationship I describe here. And it again, just as much as the fact that Jessica in this book is a human, how she meets Roger or where Roger comes from is another one of those what kind of moments. That, in fact, that was what my editor said he was looking for, and I gave it to him in spades. I mean, the thing about this book is you're not going to be able to figure out what's going to happen. The worst thing for me is when I go into a movie or I start to read a book and, I see the first 10 minutes of the movie, I don't know how it's going to end.
Yeah.
Or I read the first 20 pages of a book and I know how it's going to end. Believe me, you got no idea here. Another interesting thing about this book series business is that I was looking for a cover design. I had a designer that I've used before, and he just didn't seem to get what I wanted. Even though I described it ad infinitum and pulled together some photographs, I just wasn't getting it. And then one day, over the transom, a fan named Andy Prisney sent me a drawing, kind of a Art Nouveau, Modigliani kind of Picasso-esque drawing of Jessica, and it just blew me away. And he said, "Well, would you post this on your Facebook page?" And I said, "Geez, I'll do more than that. I'm going to put this on the cover of my book." and the guy, of course, was blown away by that because, all he wanted was for me to put it on the Facebook page and say, "Hey, Andy Prisney does nice work." But now it's on the cover of the book. See, I was a little hamstrung by the covered photograph because for the majority of Jessica Rabbit at the end of the book becomes the Jessica Rabbit we all know and love. And she goes from Jessica Krupnik to Jessica Rabbit. But for the majority of the book, she is not that Jessica Rabbit. So I did not want to portray her on the cover as that Jessica Rabbit. I wanted to give the impression of Jessica Rabbit without actually showing Jessica Rabbit, if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah.
Most things I say don't, but sometimes I hit a single. Anyway, this illustration does that just perfectly. It is so great, and when people see the illustration, it just blows them away. And then when they hear the story, that this was a fan who sent me this artwork,
right.
and that I use it. I will tell you that even though when I said, well, how much do you want from this? And he said, "Oh, no, it's yours for free." I said, "Nah, that's not the way we do things, even in Toontown." So I did pay him. I did pay him for his artwork, but fan artwork. And for all you fans out there who are artists who say, "Well, geez, how am I ever going to get my big break?" This is how it happens. Just comes out of nowhere.
Take a risk.
Take a risk. Yeah, take a risk. What do you got to lose?
Yeah. Especially when you're just drawing some artwork and just showing to somebody. There really is nothing to lose. Just like, hey, I like your characters. I drew one of them. Ta-da! You never know.
Well, yeah, I would, if people follow me on Facebook, and everybody should follow me on Facebook. I post a lot of, worthless, meaningless stuff there. But if you follow me on Facebook, I link to Andy Prisney quite often, and the guy is just brilliant. He is he uses simple line art, very simple drawings, and every day he comes up with 3 things that'll just blow you away. So I'm glad I could give a break to a struggling young artist. It was very, very pleasurable for me.
Yeah, and with this style of with story, with how everything's kind of getting rebooted, this I could see this as being because you could do straight as a live action film of just watching Jessica going through and becoming the spy. This would be interesting.
Well, funny you should mention this because after I wrote the novel, I wrote the screenplay.
Nice.
So it is already, and you are absolutely right. It is perfectly set up for a live-action animated movie. And, there have been tons of reboots that have done animated movies as live action.
Right.
101 Dalmatians. You can go on and on. But this one kind of goes the other way. It takes a live-action character and kind of shows how she became an animated character. Although, I'm not going to give anything away.
Right.
As I said before, this is the first time. You're an exclusive here because this is the first time that I have actually talked about this book on an interview. It just came out like a week ago Monday, so this is the first time I've ever talked about it. And I don't really know what's going to come out of my mouth. I don't know what I'm going to say. And like I say, this book is just chock full of surprises. You will not be able to figure out what's going to happen next. You will have no clue. And, I want to give readers enough information to kind of whet their appetites and persuade them to buy it. But I don't want to give away I don't want to give away the big Megillah. I don't want to tell ruin any of the surprises, because the surprises are just astounding.
Now, would you recommend someone read this book before reading I'll call it the Roger Rabbit trilogy?
It doesn't matter. I think people should read them all. I mean, I certainly have. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I've got the other three currently on order on Amazon, because I remember I read Who Plugged Roger Rabbit actually back in middle school, and that's been a really long time ago, so I don't remember everything. Yeah. So I'm like, I need to reread that, but I figured if I'm going to do it, I'm going to reread all three of these and then dive into this one.
Because the way they came out, Who Censored Roger Rabbit was first. Then Who Plugged Roger Rabbit was second, because the movie came out. And, the movie was, I had no intention of ever writing a sequel, but the movie was such a smash that I was just besieged with offers to write a sequel, so I did. Then, years later, I was writing a different novel for a different publisher, something else entirely, and they wanted me to do a blog. And they said, well, you should put something on the blog every day to get people to come to it, too, And I said, I'm going to look at my stuff. And I said, I've got a Roger Rabbit novel I started after I did Who Censored Roger Rabbit that I just put aside and never finished. I said, I'll publish a chapter of that on my blog every day. And they said, you've got a nearly finished Roger Rabbit novel? And I said, yeah. I said, well, why don't you finish that? We'll publish that instead. So I did. So that even though Who Whacked Roger Rabbit came out as the third in this series, it's actually the second.
Yeah.
Because I wrote it after I did Who Censored Roger Rabbit. And if you read Censored, Whacked, and Plugged, you'll see that Censored and Whacked are very brooding, very dark, really prototypical noir crime mysteries. Plugged is a little bit lighter, but still thoroughly, a grown-up adult book. This one is fourth in the series, but it's a total oddball. I mean, it stands on its own. You can read this one without knowing anything at all about the others. I mean, if you've seen the movie, you know enough to read this one and figure out what's going on and who's who and who the characters are. Yeah.
And is there some potential that we might find out a few other adventures that Jessica has had as part of the series?
Well, you got to read the book, but
okay.
When you get to the end, you tell me if there's going to be more. You tell me. Again, it's one of those things that I don't want to give away too many secrets. But could be. Yeah, it could be. Right now, I came up with just a brilliant idea for a new kind of toon. So the fifth in the series will go back to noir mysteries, and it will be a Roger Rabbit Eddie Valiant novel.
Nice.
So I'll do that one. And I can't even tell you the title because I haven't really decided what it's going to be yet. But it's going to be the same as Censored and Whacked, very noir mystery. And then when I finish that one, maybe give Jessica another shot. We'll see.
And as just kind of a fun question, when I was looking up on your profile, the About Me, I'm kind of curious what sort of comic books you were reading when you were young that helped forge this crazy imagination of yours.
Well, there were a couple. I was a huge comic book reader, and I was before the Stan Lee era. So my comic books were Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. Love those three.
Yep.
Uncle Scrooge. I loved Uncle Scrooge. Loved Donald Duck. In fact, people say, who was your favorite comic book or cartoon character? And I would almost pick Donald ahead of Roger, but don't tell Roger that. I love Donald Duck. Uncle Scrooge. I had me and my friend John Myers, who became the Catholic Archbishop of New Jersey. We had an Uncle Scrooge fan club.
Nice.
And we used to squeeze every nickel until it hollered. And in those days, when you bought chewing gum, you could peel the tinfoil off the chewing gum, and we used to collect tinfoil. I guess we intended to sell it someday, but we both had huge balls of tinfoil, and we always tease him about my balls were bigger than yours, but we never actually got around to physically comparing. Anyway, that was it, and in later years, I got into graphic novels. I still think that Mouse is one of the best comic books, if you want, graphic novels. Watchmen. I kind of skipped the whole Stan Lee Golden Age era.
Oh my!
Because I was in college, and I was in the Air Force. I was at Air Commando. I was in Vietnam. And
wow.
You didn't read Spider-Man in the Jungle, so I kind of missed that. I also missed out on a lot of rock and roll. I was in the jungles when the Rolling Stones came around, and actually even the Beatles. So I never really got to appreciate the early Beatles and early Rolling Stones. But occasionally I still read comic books. I still do, and Archie. I love Archie. I was watching that reboot of Archie on TV, Riverdale, which kind of takes the whole Archie mythology and does weird things with it. Mm-hmm. But I'm always approached by parents who when I say get your kids to read. That's what's important. Get them to read. It doesn't matter what. And they come to me and they say, "Oh, my kid only reads comic books." I said, "Well, it didn't do me any harm."
Yeah.
So
your kid just might color in a blue cow, is all.
Yeah,
it's a whole other story.
More power to them.
And for anyone who wants to know about the blue cow, I'm just going to recommend you go to GaryWolf.com and read the about, and we'll save that as a surprise for you when you read it. It's a great story.
It's a great story, true story too. And people ask me, the story. People don't know the story, but people ask me, whatever happened to that teacher? Did you ever see her again? And I did indeed when the movie came out. And I went back to my hometown in Earlville and gave a talk. And that teacher, who was the blue cow teacher, came up to me and said, "I always knew you were creative, and I always knew you would be successful because you had such a vivid imagination." I said, "Okay, thank you very much for that."
Let's see. Yes, encourage your kids to read, imagine things, put that phone down for a little bit, and use your imagination. I remember when I was a kid, when we didn't have phones and everything, we'd run around outside, and I was never very athletic, so my imagination was my greatest toy, and we'd have our own little adventures running around the neighborhood. So, because you come up with stories and you act them out.
Yeah, I grew up as an only child, and in a small town, and most of the kids in my town were farm kids, so I was one of the few kids who lived in town itself, and I never had anybody to play with, so I had to make my own fun. And I used to go out in the backyard and make up my own stories, and I did that for years and years. And again, doesn't seem to have done me any harm.
Yeah. Worked pretty well for Walt Disney. He'd make up stories and tell them to his little sister underneath the tree.
Yep,
that's
absolutely.
Become legendary.
Absolutely.
So there you go.
Absolutely.
So yeah, imagination is a wonderful thing, and just I worry sometimes that kids are just not getting a chance to really engage theirs when they're spending all their time on their phone all the time. You got everything at the touch of your fingers. I'm worried about that. Yeah,
it's a different environment, and I I see kids who play video games, and I'm not a video game guy. I'm a pinball guy. I love pinball machines. I've never been able to play video games, but I think that there's something to be gained by playing video games because these kids have reflexes that are just astounding. And I don't have that kind of reflex. I never have had that kind of reflex. And I think that playing video games kind of makes you look at the world in a different way. And I don't think there's anything bad about that. So I say read first. Read comic books second. If you can't do that, play video games. Whatever you do that kind of gets you out of yourself is good. If you just sit in your room and brood all the time, that's bad. So anything else, I can't complain.
All right. Well, I have seen that your books, if somebody just goes and even searches for Gary K. Wolf on Amazon, you can order all the books there. Of course, if you go to GaryWolf.com, you can find a place to order all your books. Heck, I even wonder, there's a section of that's just all of your works that I kind of wonder, is some of like your old stuff still available, like Space Vulture and Killer Ball, all your old science fiction?
Yeah. Space Vulture is down. In fact, I just signed a copy of that for somebody the other day. All of that's still available. I've got a book of my short stories that called The Road to Toontown that shows kind of how I got from science fiction to talking rabbits. It includes my first short story, which was 50 pages, called Love Story, and I wrote it in 1971 or 2, I think. I can't remember. But I got paid $50 for it. They paid me $1 a page. And I was as happy with that sale as I've ever been with anything sale in my life, even a movie sale, because that meant that I was an actual writer. That I had made money off of something that I had written. So I said, all right, first thing I've got to do is I've got to get myself a writer's wardrobe. So I was living in San Francisco at the time. So what do writers wear in San Francisco? Well, I went out and I got myself a tweed jacket with leather pants, with leather patches on the sleeves. I got myself a brown turtleneck. And then I went to a place called East West Musical Instrument Company, which sold leather pants. And I got myself a pair of leather pants. The whole outfit wound up costing me $350. So my first sale, I actually wound up in the hole by $300. But I'm proud to say that I can still wear those leather pants today, although this being the 70s, those leather pants are wide bell bottoms. So we all make our mistakes.
Right. I probably got a few wardrobe items that it's probably a good thing I don't fit into anymore. I'll find out what happens when I finally have a garage sale around this place. Of what's the people are going to look at me like, I'm not buying that. I have to convince them. Retro is in though. Come on. So we'll see.
Yeah. I'm probably the most retro thing I own. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm starting to find out about myself because I'm about to turn 45, and I'm realizing I'm getting to that curmudgeon stage where I just look at kids today. I'm like, I don't understand you kids. Why does everything slap now?
Just gets worse. It's only a hop, skip, and a jump to, hey kid, get off my lawn.
Yeah, and I think we're close enough because I can't mow our front yard because my wife has planted things all over it in different areas, and I don't know where they all are. So she has to mow, so she knows the pattern of how to not kill her stuff. So all I need now is for some kid to go walking through the yard and trample near where I think there might be a flower, and I'm going to be coming out the door. Hey, kid, get off my lawn. It's going to happen.
I got to tell you, that was pretty clever of you to arrange to have your wife.
Except for I didn't do it.
Plant the stuff so only she can mow the lawn. That's brilliant. That's genius level.
Except for the front of the yard is not that big, so it's kind of an easy thing. So, but yeah, she kind of, there's a section here, and I've only contributed to where I know the flower bed. I'm like, okay, I know where the flower bed, I know where that stuff is, but she went and has a little patch here and a little patch there, and I contributed, I think, close to like the road where, you're supposed to put like that row of flowers to greet everybody driving by. I've put some over there, but I don't know where she's hidden stuff. And sometimes you just got to look for where she's got like a stick she picked up somewhere and shoved down next to where a plant is growing. And we've even had problems where I put some not Gerber daisies. What did I put over there? Some daylilies, that I planted kind of on the border between us and our neighbor. Well, the neighbor is an older lady. She's hired some people out to mow her yard, and they have a habit of crossing into our yard a little bit, just enough to keep mowing over, and my daylilies have never had a chance to come out and bloom because every year they get mowed over. So we put a little fencing thing there, and I'm like, all right, this year, my daylilies are going to be able to grow because there's a bulb still in there somewhere. So...
hearing that, you make me glad that I live in a high-rise penthouse in Boston, and my only garden is hydroponic. So,
well, that was one of the things when we bought the house a couple years ago. My wife was just dying and waiting to be able to start planting a garden and everything, and she wanted to put a vegetable garden in the backyard, but we realized we have a ton of squirrels. So I'm like, as soon as the vegetable sprouts, we're gonna have squirrels just ripping them apart, and so. We got to figure that out first. Otherwise, I want a strawberry patch too.
As a guy who deals with cartoon animals, I'm supposed to love all small animals, but I tell you, I can't stand squirrels. I had a tomato patch once, and those squirrels would come over and eat the tomatoes, and they would sit on my fence and sit there eating a tomato right in front of me, and they would only eat a quarter of the tomato and then throw the rest away.
Furry little jerks. But it has definitely been an honor having you on the show this week, but I don't want to take up all your time.
Thanks. It's been so fun. It's so much fun. Thanks so much. And, I am amazed to think that a character that I created back in, 1981, is now going to have, she's got her own novel. And the thing that amazes me is how timeless Jessica Rabbit really has become. People send me pictures of their tattoos. I have got pictures of Jessica tattooed on every part of the human body you can imagine, and they're still doing it. I think that Jessica must be tattooed on the arms of half the sailors in the Navy, and I am so gratified by that I created a character that. Everybody knows. You go anywhere and you say, "Oh, Jessica Rabbit," and everybody knows. So it's really a lot of satisfaction for me, and I'm glad to have done it. I'm glad I made a lot of people happy with that, and I'm hoping the book does the same.
Yep, and I look forward to checking it out as soon as I want to go ahead and read the other three because I don't, like I said, I read Plug and I don't remember it. But
Jessica Rabbit. Serious Business, $2.99 on Kindle, and if you're Kindle Unlimited, it's free. I can't beat that price.
Oh, indeed. Yeah, except I'm old school enough. I like having a book in my hand, so I'm glad it's available on hardcover and paperback.
Yeah,
so I like to have to hold it. Although my eyes are getting bad, right? In order to read, I have to hold it away or put my glasses on.
Yeah, I like it. I like it too because it's the only thing I can autograph.
Right.
A guy once said, "Well, I read on Kindle." I said, "Well, send me your Kindle. I'll sign that." And the guy did. I got this package and I opened it up and there's a Kindle. What the hell am I supposed to do with this? So I signed the back of it and sent it back.
Oh my goodness. Oh goodness. All right. Well, everybody can get a hold of you. Of course, you are on Facebook, which is I know because that's how I found you.
I'm on Facebook, and the best part is to go to my website, www.garywolf.com. I'm going to start doing a blog too in a couple of weeks, so you'll be able to get my daily musings, see what I'm up to. That's awesome. A lot of fun.
And, of course, these are available in paperback, hardback, Kindle, and you even have some audiobooks. But not Zero Success,
not of Jessica, but the other three are all in audiobooks. And I tell you, it's a lot easier with the audiobooks because the way I used to do it, if somebody wanted like an audio version, they would call me up and I would read it to them over the phone. And so this saves me a whole lot of time. You know?
Right. And I thought about getting the audiobooks. I was like, no, I'm going to sit and read it. Because I've got them on order because I didn't realize that you had all the other ones, like the old ones were being republished. I was like, well, hey, yeah, man, I can pick them up.
All of them. Yeah.
So they're all available. So everybody go to GaryWolf.com and you can order the whole set. I mean, I actually got a pretty good package deal actually on Amazon.
Everybody should buy in bulk.
Buy in bulk. There you go. Give you something to do for the summer reading. Heck, well, your kids are going to be home. Might give them something to read. Although it's a little dark, I guess. The books are a little different. But if you have teenagers, preteen teenagers, might be good some summer reading. Give them something to read over the summer. Keep the brains going.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
All righty. Well, thank you for coming on the show. This has been fun.
Sure. My pleasure. My pleasure. It was a lot of fun. Thanks for having me.
All right, so we want to thank Karen Kennedy, Ricky Pope of Christian Nerds Unite, Darren Wilhite of the Wilhite and Wall Show, and of course, they did the work on the opening of the show. And don't forget that you can email us at podcast@neverlandpodcast.com. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook. We have not only a fan page, but a group. I don't know if our voicemail works, so I'm not going to bother. And don't forget that we do have a Patreon. We really do appreciate. I know money's tight, but money's tight for me too. And I pay this out of my own pocket to bring this to you. So I would appreciate your help on Patreon. We have all the links on our website, neverlandpodcast.com. So come and help out if you can. But y'all, you know what? I forgot to bring this up, but at the time that you're going to hear this, it's probably already kicking off. Star Wars Celebration. I don't know how much new stuff we might get announced, but be prepared. We're probably going to be talking about it next episode. But make sure you go to the official Star Wars YouTube channel. They will be live streaming again this year, so you better believe on my computer, TV, everything, I'm going to be locked on. Even while at work, I'll probably have my laptop going while I'm working. Listening in on my birthday as they start this thing on Thursday for Star Wars Celebration. Who knows what we're going to find out? Maybe we'll get a little bit of a preview of Obi-Wan before it premieres on Friday. Who knows? But until then, get lost in an adventure.
Ew, gotta get rid of this old Backstreet Boys t-shirt.
Tell me why.
Because it stinks, boys.
Tell me why.
I've washed it so many times, but the odor won't come out.
Tell me why.
No, you tell me why I can't get rid of this odor.
Have you tried Downy Rinse and Refresh? It doesn't just cover up odors, it helps remove them.
Wow, it worked, guys.
Yeah.
Downy Rinse and Refresh removes more odor in one wash than the leading value detergent in 3 washes. Find it wherever you buy laundry products.